Hey guys, this is Crypto Spook.
And this is Moriarty.
And today we are bringing you not a game, but a new method of locomotion, which they have called Freedom Locomotion. And I am trying it out in the developer's demo here. It uses your actual body movement for you to move.
In most VR games, you have three different types of locomotion. You have teleportation, which is probably one of the most common. You have D-pad, and then you usually have a hybrid movement locomotion where you might swing your arms or something like that. Those are really the only three types of locomotion that we've seen so far. Whereas this game is supposed to include a hybrid of all of those, to where you have your D-pad and then you also have a jump dodge, sort of like in raw data, which would be your teleportation movement, and then you've got other types of little movements here and there to try and make it more realistic and seamless to move throughout the game.
But I believe they have three different techniques. They called one coats. You have to go into the game and reset your VR circle. You have to reset your VR space while inside the game, so the game can accurately judge your height and reset your play space to a more safe space for you. It puts another chaperone layer inside of your actual chaperone layers, because if any of you guys set your Vive up anything like me, your chaperone boundaries are right up against walls for the most part.
Yeah.
We all want as much VR play space as we can get. So they give you a slightly smaller blue chaperone inside, which you can turn on by holding your grips. There's a couple different ways you can use the coats. You can double click the thumb pad and then you can jog in place, and you have to swing your arms and jog your feet up and down, and it actively tracks you doing this and gives you movement in the direction that you are holding or with your thumb pressed on the D-pad. As you're climbing, the grips of your controllers will vibrate when you are on a location which you can grip. You will feel it grip, and then you have to let go of the other one so you don't fall off. The world they designed in here, and even in this video, it looks absolutely beautiful, and it is. So this is a good example of me jogging. This is just the realistic speed. This is called realistic speed. You double click on your thumb pad and you can just jog in place, and it allows you to jog through the level. It does feel very realistic as you're jogging, but at the same time it's also very annoying because you have to keep repositioning yourself inside of your chaperone boundaries. And I found myself probably 10-15 times accidentally clicking on the thumb pad while I'm trying to jog, and then I have to hold my thumb down instead of just put my thumb in the direction I want to go, and I was very annoyed by that.
So did it feel more natural than other types of locomotion that we've done?
It certainly felt more realistic, given the fact that my body was physically running and I was seeing a representation of it. However, it also felt less realistic due to the fact that I could hold a button down and I would shift the direction of which way I was running. Maybe if I had combined some of these different locomotion techniques, which you can do very easily in the settings menu, it could have been more realistic.
Now, see, one of the things that I had read about this that interested me the most is that because of being able to hold down the thumb pad, you can turn your head and look in other directions while still moving.
Yes, you can.
That's much more realistic. I mean, obviously, if I'm running straight and I look to the right, I don't immediately start running to the right, which is the problem with a lot of the D-pad movements that say go forward.
So there was a secondary town which I was just very bored with. It was a low-res polygon town which just said you can climb the houses and stuff, and I just had no interest. I guess there's little things you can collect and little toys you can find throughout the level, but this is really just a tech demo of their locomotion, so I didn't really feel obliged to try and beat it. However, I will say that they did a great job designing some of these levels. Like, the sleek textures and everything translated really well to VR.
Now, this is Unreal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is absolutely the Unreal Engine.
Man, Unreal's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's so gorgeous. It's surprisingly good looking, even in VR.
This is really pretty.
It's so pretty. Like, even just the textures on these cars and stuff like that, it just made me want to admire them and wish I was in the future where I could go see stuff like that.
This looks like the Minority Report cars, the Lexus that they had in it.
That's exactly what it looks like. Now, I will say that that inner chaperone boundary is very annoying, and there was no settings for it, but I understand that safety is paramount, especially in a tech demo. I don't want somebody to smash their face into a window. You can also climb very easily in this game. Well, I'm not going to say very easily, because I did not climb very well at all, but you can climb things in this game just by grabbing them and you'll be able to mount them. Very easy to switch between the different modes of locomotion. You can also use either hand to locomote with.
So this is your your more traditional, like, stutter step, blink step, right?
This is the blink step, which I felt was very much so too short, so I decided to try out the other one, and I did not select it correctly. I was like, oh, this is exactly the same.
And then this is your more traditional teleportation.
It seems very similar to blink step, it just moves you a little bit further, depending on how far your thumb is on the D-pad from the center.
This has been called the future of locomotion. Did you get that?
Well, I played this in my work boots, and I'm going to say that I sure hope it's not, because if so, okay, it is going to get you in better shape, because you will do a lot of moving. I felt my heart rate getting up there as I was running across a big level, and I could see this being useful for a game. If I had a bigger play space, I could see this being super useful and really good, and it's a very clear attempt to delegitimize the VR treadmills that you see people developing all over the place, and I would say that it's necessary, because I have no interest in getting a VR treadmill in my life.
Yeah, I really don't want to spend another $800 on my $800 device. I appreciate the fact that there is a developer out there that is trying to improve locomotion problems that we as VR players are experiencing, because right now there is no good locomotion. None of them are very good. In any game that you pick up, the locomotion is always going to be, frankly, kind of crappy. The best cases are always the room scale games, but then of course you're limited in the amount of space you actually have. You might only have 2 meters by 2 meters on the large end, which means that really, unless you can fit your entire game in that area, like VR Diner Duo or the various job simulator games where everything is within that space, you really just don't have a whole lot of game. So I really do appreciate any developer working on a new type of locomotion, and I hope that we'll be able to see it a little bit better. It looks like their movement technique is definitely a little bit better than, let's say, Climbey's walking technique, where you just swing your arms left and right, which was super awkward.
It really was awkward.
Like you're washing a glass.
Oh, that's a good. But like I said, the biggest issue I had is that I kept turning off the method of locomotion that I wanted to use. So maybe come up with some better controls for it, put it all in the menu. I want to either be able to do it one way or the other. Just, leave it that way. But it is a free demo if you want to try it out.
You can try it out. It's not something you're going to pick up. This is very much techie. This is something that people like us are interested in because we're very much invested in the VR. But it is promising that we're going to have new types of locomotion as more indie developers continue to spend their time trying to figure out the solution. At some point, someone is going to be the Bungie of VR, and we're going to have that standardized VR control scheme like we do with an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. When you pick up your Xbox controller, you know that left stick moves and right stick aims, and left trigger is going to pull up your iron sights and right trigger is going to fire. You know that because Halo and Call of Duty solidified that. And they did it because they figured it out, and they figured it out well. Eventually, we're going to have that for VR. We're going to have somebody who comes up with a really good locomotion system. So far, it still sounds like Doom VR has the best locomotion system in the game. Nobody's been trying that except for the press, and it's not here yet.
All right, guys, so that was Freedom Locomotion. I assume something that they will be eventually licensing and selling to developers to just add into your game and make it easy.
If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Be sure to check out the Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know what your favorite locomotion is. Do you like teleport? Are you a D-pad guy? Do you like the climby wash a cup movement? What is your favorite locomotion?
Until the next one.